Friends, just a little morning noodling there with the pentatonic scale. Welcome to day 7 of the 30-day guitar challenge. Oh, my friends, I'm really in a very unique place this morning. Been watching lots of YouTube videos, and even though I always have guitar on my mind, I have lots of other things on my mind right now. I won't quite share them with you yet, but there is a change in consciousness happening. Can you not feel it? I can massively feel a change in consciousness happening right now because of this whole thing that's happening. I think there's a true awakening happening. Sorry to get off on a tangent to start off the day. I'll get into it here in a minute. But I'm feeling very unique today. So I've been finding some YouTube videos that are literally speaking to me specifically for the situation that's going on right now, and it is eye-opening. I thought I was crazy, but there's a lot of other people who agree with me. I know it sounds like code right now. Maybe we'll get into it. Maybe we'll get into it in this program, but let's stick to guitar today because I can get off on a tangent. Dear Lord, I can get off on a tangent. I don't want to do that to you, okay? Welcome. It's April the 7th day of the 30-day guitar challenge. What is a 30-day guitar challenge? It's 30 days in April here while we're locked down or quarantined or whatever you want to call it, where we're here together, we're learning something, we're doing something positive, we're learning how to play guitar. Many of you said, hey, if I only had time, I would learn how to play guitar. And guess what? Now you got the time. But Eric, I don't have a course. Yeah, you do. I'm giving you a free course. But Eric, I have problems with courses. No one can, people have to walk me through it, and there's no one to walk me through it. Yeah, I'm doing that for 2 hours every single day during the month of April. Okay. But Eric, I need it to be easy. All right, well then just click the links below, and then you're gonna have number 1, the first link's gonna be a PDF that's going to give you this right here, which is our daily walkthrough for the next for all the month of April, both a beginner and advanced lesson. So the first hour is beginner, and the second hour is going to be advanced lessons, intermediate to advanced. And that's what this is. That's the first link below this video, which is the, it's more than just this. It tells you about what we're doing here. It talks about building a habit, that it takes 21 to 30 days to build a great habit. And that's what we're doing this week, is building habits, right? Whether we're working out, me and Mike, who you'll see in the chat there, Mike Best 5. He and I are doing a push-up challenge. I'm doing a squat challenge. I'm doing meditation challenge. I'm doing the guitar challenge. You guys are joining with me on a lot of these things, and you got your own things going on. So this is a time for us to dig in and to grow as beings. You're going to see two things happening. You're going to see people getting weirder, and you're going to see people getting more enlightened. You're going to see people getting less enlightened. It's happening. There's a division happening right now. People have talked about it for millennia, and it's happening right now. And we're smack dab in the middle of it, and it's exciting and it's beautiful. Don't fear, friends. There's nothing to fear. We're here to learn guitar today, but don't fear any of this stuff. What will be, and we have a way to change our consciousness, and we're going to do that. Right now, we're going to do it through guitar. I can't even help it. All right, so what else do I need to tell you? Okay, the first link below, right, is going to get you the PDF. The second link below that is going to give you access to the Unstoppable Guitar System, where you can join me and the rest of the community, the people that you see talking right now. A lot of them, we're helping each other out. We're growing as players, and so that's all the stuff that you need. Okay? Does that sound good? Have I forgotten anything? I don't know. And this is how it's going to work. The first hour, I'm going to be teaching this beginner lesson, which is straight out of Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. You get that today. I'm walking you through every day. And then the second part today, we're going to be talking about pentatonic scales, which is one of my favorite subjects. It's what I was noodling with just now. I don't know how to play the guitar. I really don't. But I know about the pentatonic scale, and I know how to use it. And so, that's really the only thing you need to know how to do. I kind of know how to play the guitar. I know how to teach the guitar. I can play it a little bit too. But what I do is I teach you concepts so that you can too adopt those same concepts and then bring them into your own playing. It's really quite simple. It's like anything else in life. If you break it down to bits and pieces, you learn that bit and then you stack it with another bit, and all of a sudden you're a doctor, or all of a sudden you're a physicist or a musician or a whatever it is that you do, stacking up these skills, okay? That's all we're doing. It's real simple stuff. It's like learning a language. You learn the suffixes and the prefixes, and you learn the, am I saying that right? Suffixes and prefixes. You learn the little bits and pieces that end the words, and now you're learning a language, okay? All right, before we begin, friends, if you haven't already, please like the video. If you have already, don't do it twice because you'll just negate the first one. Go ahead and thumb up on this thing if you would. Let other folks know, and also share it. If you have never shared a video of mine, now's the time, right? Come on, hit that share button and share it out there with somebody. Come on, you know what to do. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about posture. Let's talk about proper posture. Let's talk about holding the pick. The two most important things when it comes to basically just getting set up and at least getting a good foundation started. Now I'm going to twist this down just a teeny tiny bit, just because you guys don't care as much about my hair as you do how I'm holding the guitar. Okay, that's pretty important. All right. There's two basic ways that you can hold the guitar, okay? One is the folk method, which is, this is resting on my right knee. So if I'm a right-handed player and the guitar's over to the left here, this is resting on my right thigh. This is known as the folk method, and this is what people use a lot of times. This is great, probably the most comfortable method. I use this 99% of the time. Why? Well, because in this case here, my one leg, my arm, and my chest are holding onto the guitar. Not as stable as the classical method, where now my arm, two thighs are holding the guitar, and my chest, okay? So this one's a little bit more stable. Also puts the neck of the guitar in a place that you can manipulate the chords and get to everything a lot better. You can exploit every single one of these notes so much better than you can if you were like this, because the guitar is down, it's further away, your thumb's over the top of the neck, is automatically going to make things a little bit more difficult. Eric, which one's best? Let's not talk about best, right? Unless you want to get me triggered. Best is what's best for you. So this may be best, or this may be best. Even though this is better for really being able to manipulate the chords and get in there and everything else, I don't prefer it unless I'm playing classical guitar. So that's the way I was taught, and also just feels better for reaching certain things. can play for hours and hours and hours like this, whereas if I'm sitting like this, I'm really holding my back up properly. I've got proper posture, the whole 9 yards, but it requires muscles in my back to be active, and so obviously it's a little bit more difficult. Someone said no pants. I am wearing pants, I promise. I'm wearing shorts. Yeah. Flesh-colored shorts. No, I'm wearing shorts. Okay, so there's 2 basic ways to hold it. There's folk and there's classical, okay? And we got the basic idea here. Now, which way is right for you? Why don't you do both of them and see which one feels best for you? But give both of them a little bit of time. Give them a little bit of opportunity to marinate, for you to marinate in them and sit in them and make sure that one is not more preferred than another. Like I said, I use both. Mainly the folk position here because I can play all day long. But it makes the neck a little bit more shaky, a little bit more squirrely. And so what happens is for beginners, a lot of times they reach that thumb over the top of the neck like they would a shovel because you don't want to lose it, right? And so because of that, because their neck's over the top of the neck, now they're trying to grab chords and they're wondering why they can't grab the right chords. And I talk about that in high detail inside the free course that I'm giving you guys today, okay? Whereas the classical method here, the thumb can drop behind the back of the neck and you have the chest, an arm, and 2 legs holding that guitar in place. It's not going anywhere. So you don't have to thumb over the top of the neck. You're free to play like this with your thumb behind the neck or in front of the neck if you wanted. I've seen people play like that actually. So those are the 2 basic ways, the 2 basic postures. Some people say, well, can I lean the guitar back and look at the strings? Yeah, you can. And it will help you to see the strings more, but it's also now you're having to reach underneath the guitar to get that hand in the right position. So there is that, and that can be a little bit degrading on your technique. Okay, so just something to remember there. So as far as posture, that's what I want you to remember, okay? Now as far as holding the pick, most people will hold the pick between their thumb and first finger just like this. I've seen people hold the pick like this. I wouldn't advise holding the pick like this because you don't have a lot of control over it. I've done it before and I don't feel like I have much control over the pick. It may work great for you, but I don't think it's going to be as good as this because your fingertips can feel. They're a lot more sensitive than that side of that knuckle. Also, this is not very diverse. You can't do much with it. It's just kind of stuck. Whereas if it's in your fingertips, if you need to hide the pick to do some finger picking or to do some tapping or something like that, you can do it very quickly and put the pick back in place. If it's here, I'm having to go and do more to make it disappear, if you will. So does that make sense? So hold it between your first finger and your thumb. Eddie Van Halen, who isn't so bad of a guitar player, holds the guitar between his thumb and his second finger like this, the wrong way. But he plays amazing, right? Amazingly. So who's to say what's right? These are just suggestions. This is why I always say to you guys, there is no best. There's just what's best for you. And you may find a technique that works better for you. Now, just remember also, don't forget that you don't want to do something out of being lazy. So like I'll see some people go, man, I'm just real natural with my fingers, but I don't like to use the pick. I don't like to use the pick. It makes it hard for me. Or not, they don't say it makes it hard for me. I use the pick. I mean, I don't use the pick. I use my fingers. I just get a better sound and everything else. And it's like, I don't think you probably do. I think you haven't gotten used to using the pick. If I let my little boy, who's 4 years old, eat with his hands still, he would still be eating with his hands and not with a fork. But I said, buddy, you can't do this because when you go out on a date one day, they're not going to want you to eat with your hands, right? So understand that that some things you're doing just out of convenience because you're not willing to put in the work, okay? So don't be that guy, don't be that gal. Put in the work, do what you need to do to become a good guitar player. You should be using a pick. You should at least understand how to use the pick so that when you need it, you've got it. Not one of these things like, well, I don't use it because I just use my fingers and that's it. It means you're limited as a player, okay? That means if you're an artist, you can only finger paint and you couldn't use a brush, which means you're not going to come up with a lot of textures that a brush would provide. And you're gonna see your fingerprint on there all the time. It's gonna look like a kid painting. So use your pick, okay? And understand that the more this pick is in your hands, the better you're gonna be at using the pick. You don't even have to be picking the guitar, okay? You literally could be holding this pick just straight up all the time while driving, while walking down the street, etc., etc. Makes sense? So, what should you do with this pick? You should put it in your hands right now. If you're not playing guitar right now, you should hold this pick in your hand for the next hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes that I'm with you teaching you. Just hold it in your hand. That's all you do. And you, my friend, are getting used to holding this pick. Even if you're not playing guitar, you're getting used to holding it. Do it more and more and more and more, okay? Carry it around with you everywhere. Put it in your pocket and carry it with you. Now, if you're beyond a beginner player, you probably don't need to do that, but every little bit helps. So as a beginner, definitely do that. As an intermediate advanced player, you may not need to do that, but it's a great habit to get into anyhow. If you're just carrying it around with you, you're gonna get really good at it, okay? All right, that covers posture and holding the pick. Two very important things, because if you don't know those things, we're building a foundation here, right? All the previous days, we're building a foundation. We're constantly building this foundation from the very ground up, where a foundation should be. And if that foundation's strong, you can build anything on top of it. If the foundation's weak, then it doesn't matter what you build on top of it, it's gonna collapse. It's just a matter of time. So don't do that, okay? So this is very important stuff. If you want more detail about this or any of these beginner bits, I say beginner, for some they're gonna be beginner, for some they're gonna be intermediate stuff. But bar none, it is stuff that is every guitar player in every genre is going to need, and it's going to be building a foundation. So learn the stuff, and it's there for you for free. Second link below gets you into that program for free, okay? All right, let's get into some questions here. It is 11:17, and that was a short little lesson. That's okay, because at noon, we are going to be looking at the pentatonic scale, and we're going to get an idea of what that's about, how to use it in different keys. Can we use it in all genres? Yeah, the answer is yes. Can we use it to improvise? Yes. Can you use it to noodle? Yes. Can you use it to create solos? Yes. Is it the most used set of notes of all times? Yep. Especially in rock and roll, jazz, country. It's the most used notes out of all. Five notes, that's it. And we're going to learn how to do it today. Okay, good. All right, let's get into some questions. Thank you for the kind words there, Larry. Eric, please teach about grip and attack as far as the pick is concerned. Okay, so somebody's wanting some more higher detail about the pick. So there's different types of picks that you can get, and I talk about this quite often, that you should go down to the store, the local store, and get a bunch of different types of picks. In this case here, this one is a .60, so that's the thinness of it, or thickness, and it bends, it flexes real nice. I love these types of picks for nice big acoustic strumming, right? I can really smack the strings really hard, feels great. Pick does not feel like it wants to come out of my hands, partially because I've used the pick a lot and I've practiced. The more you do this, the better you're going to get at it. But it's also a thinner pick, so the thinner the pick, the more it's going to flex underneath your fingers, and it doesn't want to pull out of your fingers. Just like if you have long curly hair, you're not going to use a comb, you're going to use a brush with soft bristles, so that when you do hit a knot, because you will, you're going to be able to keep going. If you used a comb, you're going to get a knot, and it's going to be very not fun to comb your hair. Same thing with playing. It's going to be not fun if you're using a big, thick pick like this guy. This is a Dragon's Heart pick. It's just a name brand, and it's super thick. I see someone saying, I can't use a pick due to an accident when I was 16. I bet you can, Phil. I bet you can, because I just saw a guy with no arms using a pick. He had no arms. Did I mention he had no arms and he was using a pick? And he was holding a pick between his toes. So my guess would be, unless you have less than 2 arms, you'd have to have less than 2 arms. This guy had 2 legs, 2 feet that he was able to play the guitar. So unless you have less than 2 arms, you can use a pick. I guarantee it. Watch the video and you tell me if you can't use a pick, okay? I understand. I'll try to read that one in detail though. Maybe I missed something here. You don't have a thumb, and the fingers on my left hand have very limited mobility. Had to find a different way to play. Okay, respect, no thumb. Okay, I spoke a little too soon, but guess what? You can hold it between these two. Sure you can. I've seen a guy with no hand hold it with his hook. Okay, I've seen guys with nubs and they tape a daggone pick on there. So you can do it. Don't worry about the thumb, seriously. And I love that you said that you don't have a thumb. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for stepping up and being brave. And I love that. And I love that you're still playing and that you have the strength to and the mindset to, because that's all it is. It has nothing to do with a thumb or lack of arm or lack of legs or lack of anything. It has to do with your mindset. And this freak of nature does have that mindset. I mean that in a good way, a freak of nature. You are amazing, okay? I'm a freak of nature. You're a freak of nature. We all are. You have that unlimited ability, and yet you've got that unlimited mindset that's going to keep you going. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Hopefully that will encourage others of us who whine about smaller things. So beautiful. You can use a pick, okay? All right. Oh, and so somebody said, you know, the thicknesses of the picks. So I have different ones here. I've got, this is very thin. It's a 0.6. This one's a 0.88. I can't bend it too much. And this is probably like 1.5. So the more intricate notes I'm using, the thicker the pick I'll use. The more I'm strumming and hitting lots of notes, I'll use a thinner pick, okay? That's the way to do it. How bad do we want it? True, that it's all the mindset. Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. So you guys get it. You guys get it. It's infectious. This is the deal, man. We're the people that watch these videos they understand this. I think we've vetted out the people who are just complainers and that aren't going to get anywhere because of their mindset, not because of anything else, only because of their mindset. The second they would switch their mindset, that's the second stuff would start happening for them in life. But if they don't have that mindset, if they have the mindset that it's too hard or I got to quit or I won't get this, then of course they're not going to get it, and of course they're going to quit because that's all mindset. We have to have a strong mind for stuff like this, for anything. That's why the guitar appeals to me so much, because it's a way to show people not only can you do anything on this, you can do anything else that you want to do if you get the knowledge and you apply the knowledge and you do the work. Yeah. All right. Hal, thank you. Yes, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Don't hit it twice though. Rob is saying, how about sitting versus standing? I have practiced for months, nearly a year, sitting. I tried playing standing up the other night. Jeez, it was like starting all over again. Indeed, Rob. I talk about practice versus perfect practice, right? Perfect practice is practicing what it is that you want to do in the situation that you want to do it in, whereas practice is just practice, you know, fiddling, and then you go on stage and you want to be a virtuoso and play all these great songs. But you haven't been practicing great. You've been fiddling, right? So what's going to happen when you get on stage? The genie gods aren't going to visit you and all of a sudden bestow upon you all the skill that you haven't been practicing, you haven't been earning, right? So if you practice while you're sitting down, then you're going to be good at practicing while sitting down. You're going to get good at playing while sitting down. But as soon as you stand up, you're changing that variable. It does change. The guitar's in a different place. It feels weird. Now you're looking down, you're standing. It becomes very strange. So when I would practice for bands, I would practice sitting down, and then inevitably I would do my dress rehearsals standing up. And once I got the song down, I would start standing up more and more, because that's the way I was going to play these shows for hours long. I mean, play 65 songs, that's a lot. Like, it's a 4-hour set. You're standing up, but you got to get used to standing up. We're not sitting down the whole time. So whatever it is that you want to practice it in the way that you would practice it. That's what dress rehearsals are all about, right? Everybody puts on their clothes and they go for it. And they practice as if they're on stage. That's the way to do it. Is there a reason not to put lighter gauge strings like 9s or 10s on an acoustic? Would it cause the frets to buzz or any other bad things? It wouldn't really cause bad things per se. It can create some intonation issues, some tuning issues. Uh, typically acoustic guitars have thicker strings because they resonate better, they sound better, that sort of thing. But there's nothing to say you couldn't do it. But for the most part, there are reasons why people don't do that, and the reasons that I just mentioned are those reasons why. Okay. Christopher has a lack of flexibility on the left side because of cerebral palsy. Thank you, Christopher, for saying that. Indeed, we live in a physical world. I am not at all saying that we're not limited by our physicality. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is if you stop there and you allow your mind to accept that, the mind is unbelievably uncanny, unbelievably powerful. And when the mind decides something, it can make the physical realm do things that it couldn't do before. So there's that. We're still in a physical realm, but we test these boundaries all the time. So Christopher, thank you. And you can work through it, whatever it is. Again, here's a guy that had no arms playing electric guitar, not playing just acoustic guitar, which is hard enough. He's sitting there soloing. I should do this. I should go like this. He was soloing. Sorry to show you my feet. That's a first. I got flip-flops on, but he was soloing with his feet. Okay. Boy, someone's gonna snapshot that and turn that into a weird meme. Eric, what do you think of those guitar picks stamp out machines? I have one and it seems to work for me. Brandon, I think they're great in the beginning if you just need picks and you're losing them all the time. But you know, a pick is an instrument, it's a tool, and so if they're just pumped out like that and they have rigid edges or they're goofy in some way, if they have imperfections, that's going to come out and you're playing some. And in the beginning, you need all the help you can get. So, you know, in the very beginning, it's probably okay, but later on, as you start getting your technique down, that's going to be a variable that might hold you back. But you can tell, you know, if you're strumming or if you're picking or whatever, if this pick is getting caught on the strings, then you know, that might be a variable for you. So, okay, sorry about my little guy in the background here. Close quarters, and we're all inside right now. Okay. Did you know if you don't work your mind, you are more subjective to altimeters? I don't know what that is, Darwin, but I would like to investigate that. If you have a link about that, let me know, because I'm constantly talking about that, talking about working your mind for different things. I wonder if it has to do with what you're talking about there. Jeff, hair's still looking good. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff gives me the okay on the hair every day, and we're not too far into this, so we've got a little while to go. So we'll see how it goes. Will a pick hurt nylon strings? Yeah, don't use it. It will fray your strings, because steel strings don't fray like nylon strings do. There's nylon and then there's metal around them, and they don't like each other. And so when you pick with a pick, oftentimes they will fray. Sometimes they will, just like using your fingers, you know? Yeah. Stored in a case, guitar is one that does not get played, but outside, any tips for keeping it nice and clean? I don't worry about keeping my guitar clean. I just worry about it getting knocked over, or I make sure that it's not knocked over. I put it in a stand or put it on the wall, that sort of thing. And I make sure that the air is between 45, 65 degrees humidity. You really try to keep it around 50 to 55, and make sure the temperature is decent too, you know. You don't want the temperature being uncomfortable for your baby, or for you, or for your animal, for your pet, or for your guitars, okay? Can you teach us how to play guitar like Joe Exotic? So we started watching that the other day, because I watched the trail and I said, oh my gosh, I gotta watch it. And literally I got into about 30 seconds of it, and I was like, because I know people like that. And I know people that have lifestyles like that, not not friends of mine, but I've known that, and it was so real that I'm like, I can't. This is too real, because I know the behind the scenes of that stuff. So no, I might end up watching that series, but at first I was like, I can't do it. Visual 86, thanks so much for the donation. Really been digging into these daily sessions, particularly the intermediate advanced hour. Good, which we'll be doing at 12 today. Don't forget. Thank you so much for all you're doing and you've done. You're a terrific resource. Thank you, Visual 86. So kind, and thank you for the donation. I truly appreciate that. Okay, just received my hydrometer and notice humidity is from 43 to 44. 45 to 55 is best for guitar, right? Yeah, between 45 and 65, it's kind of liberal on both sides there, but search Martin acoustic humidity. They've done a nice blog on this subject. And if anybody's going to know, those guys really know woods. And so take my word for it, at least lightly here, but go to the Martin website or search on Google, search Martin guitar humidity to get from the horse's mouth, because those guys really know what they're talking about. Okay. What are my thoughts about thumb picks? I think they're good for folks that like them. If you like them, then get one. I don't particularly like them. I've noodled with them some, but it's one person's opinion. It doesn't really matter what I think. It really, truly doesn't. Try it out, and if it works for you, then good. That's the only justification you need to be doing something. If a guitar speaks to you or whatever, okay? Okay, so thrash metal saying Billie Eilish's Belly Ache is C major, A minor, and E minor, and it has 400 million views. And thrash metal, guess what? That is true for like all the best songs in the world. I'm not saying that's one of the best songs. I don't know. I had definitely have heard that song, but I don't remember it speaking to me so much as some of her other songs did, the production and stuff like that. But she's a great singer. But all the classic songs, so many of the classic songs are really simple like that. Just a few chords, indeed. It's bizarre, but, you know, most genius stuff is not because it's so complicated. It's just because it's so ingenious, because it's so simple yet still, you know. Does pick size matter, difference in playing? I feel like I can hit the notes more precisely with a smaller pick. Yes, jazz picks. Some folks swear by jazz picks. They're little teardrop picks, and people use them all the time because they're real specific. You can't. They are more precise if you get to use one. If you get to using one, especially for individual notes. But when you're really digging into chords and stuff, those jazz picks aren't as fun. At least for me. All right. Eric, is your practice area acoustically treated? Can you recommend any products? No, it's not. Mine is not acoustically treated. Are you going to review the diatonic harmony lesson in the next hour? Need further explanation of the major scale construction. James, have we done that yet? I'm trying to think which day we're going to do that, if we're going to do that. Huh. We could talk about that today. We talked about that we talked about that 2 days ago. We talked about that yesterday, the language of guitar. We talked about the major scale. We can talk about that again in the second hour. Or I tell you what, I could get to that, but I won't get into a real long lesson about that right now. I'd say let's save that to the second hour. So ask me then, because friends, we're over 600 folks here right now, which, by the way, is a first, at least as far as these weekly broadcasts. So congratulations, my friends. Thank you so much for making that a reality. Very cool. Over 600 folks in here right now. If you haven't already, please thumb up this and share with a friend. So we will cover diatonic harmony, but let's do it in the second hour, because I don't want to lose our folks who are here for the beginner bits. I don't want to go over their heads right now, okay? Eric, where do you place your right hand and right arm on the electric? Just near the bridge somewhere on the strings, wherever's comfortable. If you're saying that, it's because you're brand new to guitar. So just get to doing the exercises, get to doing the bits and pieces that I show you in the free program. It's the second link below. Just do that in order. Don't worry about where you place your hands. That's going to come naturally, okay? you have to get comfortable with the instrument for that to make sense. Daniela, thank you so much for the donation. So sweet of you. So kind. Thank you. Okay. What type of flow technique should the pick hit each string in up and down strokes in strumming? Frank, if you're using a thinner pick, then there should be an automatic flow. You should be picking all the strings, you should be strumming all the strings and muting the notes that you don't want to sound. Do this. Just take the pick and go like this. I talk about this in the strumming exercises that I have for you for free in the strumming video, the tutorial video, along with all the exercises inside the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, which is the second link below, okay? So I have all this stuff for you, and if you follow it like that, where I'm saying don't strum the chords, just get used to this feel, you're gonna focus all of your energy right here. Instead of your chords getting lost, this energy is gonna get lost into the chords here. Focus it all on your strumming hand, and this is absolutely going to work for you. You're gonna get this massively, okay? It's gonna work, I promise. But you gotta do it. You gotta do the stuff. Dominic, thank you so much for the donation. So appreciate it. Thank you very much for doing this. Great teacher, great philosophy, great mindset. In sum, a great person. Thank you, Dominic. You've been there for me for so many of these broadcasts with donations and kind words, and it means so much to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, thank you to the team, Jason, Emmy, Mike, who are always there for me during these broadcasts. And since we're not in the studio right now, everybody's working from home. So, P.S. Your 6-string story is amazing and so motivating, not only to me. Yay, thank you, Dominic. We'll post a link for that, by the way, at the end of the broadcast. Clint Miller, a documentarist, a guy who does documentaries, did a mini documentary on me and just posted that this morning. So we'll put a link in the chat for you guys near the end of the broadcast so that you guys can see that, so you can go straight to it. You did a great job on it. Looks magnificent. So thank you, Clint, if you're watching. Thank you, buddy. And Stephen Keller, thank you for the donation as well. Thank you. All lessons so clear. God bless. Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A documentarian. Thank you, Emmy. Emmy keeps me in line. They all keep me in line. I'd be more bonkers than I am if it weren't for Emmy and Mike and Jason. Okay, Eric, where's my cat? I've got the baby gates on right now, but I suppose any of them could jump in right now. There's only one that is agile enough and not too fat. He's fat. He's agile enough to leap over the fences, and that's Tux. He's a big old cat now, but he always jumped over the fence when he was little, and now he doesn't realize that he can't do it, so he does it. What? There's a lesson there for you. He doesn't realize that he can't do it, so he does it. It's true. He's got that mindset. Ear training. Sumitra is saying, yes, I have videos for this. Search Your Guitar Sage Ear on YouTube. I also have lots of courses inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System. But if you would like the first ear training lesson, here's what I want you to do. Hum any note. What I did is I hummed the note, and then I started picking in half steps on one string until I found that note. BJ, thank you, my friend, for the donation, and thank you for the tip here. You can put holes in the pick to give a better grip. I've done it before. Drill holes right where you're holding that pick, and it will stick with you better, indeed. So that's the first exercise. Just hum a note. I have a general idea of where it might be, right? And then I just pick, and then I go in half steps, up or down the string. If I hear, that's higher, until I find it. So if I have a melody, then I'm going to pick out that melody. That is the number one thing you can do, and you can do that for months before you actually start developing your ear towards ear training. Do that. Don't look for something else. Do that first. Then you're going to be able to hear chords and stuff better. But you got to be able to hear melodies first. Lori Allaire, thank you so much for the donation. And friends, we have 613 folks in here. That's a new record. That is absolutely magnificent because you're sharing this and because you're liking it. So thank you. So kind. Okay, is there something like a guitar teacher teaching the wrong way? Because I've learned from 4 teachers but still haven't made enough progress in these many years. So, Shanaka, yes, of course, a teacher can teach you wrong things. BJ, thank you for another donation. This is just because you guys are great. Thank you, bud. So kind. Yes, of course, you can have a teacher teach you the wrong things. Look at the news. There's plenty of people who are empowered saying the wrong stuff, okay? Look at the news all day long and you're going to get all sorts of misinformation, all sorts of lies. Trump didn't invent this, by the way. The news has been faked for, dear God, decades. C.S. Lewis talked about it in the 1940s, okay? So, and that was when it was only weekly news. Right? So yes, teachers can be wrong, leaders can be wrong, most definitely. Here's what you want to look for in a good leader and a good teacher. You want to look for someone who has a spirit that is open, has an open mind, has an open spirit to things, and says this. When you challenge them, they go, okay, let's go down that road. Let's revisit that. Let's challenge that. What they won't say, here are the people that don't have the answers, the people that say, oh, I've got the answer, this is definitively the answer, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Now, that's not in a vacuum, but for the most part, that's what I find because they're afraid of being challenged. You can challenge me all day long, and if I'm wrong, as I've done before, I say, hey, I'm wrong. Why would I know all the answers? I don't know all the answers. I'm just trying to guide folks in an area that I think I know some stuff about. That's it. That's all. Okay, very, very humble beginnings, and I'm still humble about it because there's a ton of stuff I don't know, but I can guide a lot of folks in it just because I'm a little bit ahead of them. That's all. Okay, but for sure, you can find teachers that teach different things. But when you find a teacher who's like really steeped in ego and they say you have to do it like this, that means that it's just not true. We're talking about art. This is subjective. So whether you bring your thumb over the top of the neck or you play the guitar like this or you play it with your toes because you got no arms, right? No one would advise you using your arms or using your feet, but if you got no arms, the feet are a pretty good option, right? If you don't have a thumb, like one of our friends here, to hold the pick, then holding the pick like this, which I would never recommend you do. But if you don't have a thumb, well, what are your choices? Then you pick like this, or you pick like this, or you do something, okay? Where there's a will, there's a way. So, yes. Now, here's the other thing for the person that just asked that question. You've got to learn things step by step in a format that is walking you through things and guiding you through it, at least through the beginning stages, just like a kindergartner or whatever. That's why I give you the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, the second link below. Walk through that step by step. If you don't do that, I can't help you because that's where it starts. That's where you build your foundation. It's also the proving ground. Are you going to be able to do this? Or do you need someone to literally be in front of you telling you, hey man, it's time to practice. You got to get better, because that I don't do. I'll encourage you for sure, but you've got to find some wherewithal within, okay? And if you do this, you're going to find not only do you understand how to do this with guitar, but you'll literally be able to apply these principles to other parts of your lives. That's what I do. That's what I've done for a long time. I've always compared it to guitar, and it's inevitably, it seems to be true. So, Lori, if I didn't tell you, thank you for the sweet icon of the cat or the fox doing his little dance there and the donation. Thank you so much. That's really super kind. And Jonathan, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Super kind. Someone's asking about a triad. What's a triad? A triad is a 3-note chord. That's all it is. A chord is when we play 3 or more notes at a time. And a triad specifically is when we're talking about major, minor, diminished, or augmented chords. We won't go into all the definitions behind those, but essentially a major chord is the 1, the 3, and the 5 from the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So we take the 1, 3, and 5. We play those 3 together. 1, 3, 5. And we have the first 3 notes from the G major chord, because we're just the G major scale that I use there. And if I put a bunch of 1s and 3s and 5s along with this, then we get a G major chord, or 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 a G major chord. Okay? Great job. How do I overcome the difficulty of finger positioning for chords? Practice. It's the only thing. Now, Robert, with me saying that, you've got to know how to practice. You have to know how to transition between chords. I walk you through this. I hold your hand and say, Robert, here, now do this. Now do this 20 times. Now do this 30 times. And I walk you through this. That's what that program is for. You've got to get in that. The second link below. You've got to do it, because it has all that walking you through it, okay? Recommendations for focusing your practice time. Silver Fox, the very last question, the very last video in the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard that I give you, we talk about our why. If you don't know what your why is about guitar, you won't know what to practice. So I can't answer that question for you. You have to answer that question for you, and it's based on why do you want to play guitar. If you say, well, because I want to be the next big session player in Nashville, because I follow this guy and that guy and this gal, and I love what they do, and I'm so inspired by that, and I want to do that. Okay, well then you got your work set out for you. You need to be practicing a lot, and you need to know everything. If your why is I just want to be a campfire guitar player, then that's a whole different set of skills. Okay, smaller set, and that's easier to learn. But you got to know what your why is first, and then you can go and follow that path. If you love blues, there's no need in you learning all the jazz modes. You don't need to learn how to read music. You need to learn the basic construction of blues, of the blues chord progressions, of pentatonic scales, of blues scales. You need to learn phrasing, etc., 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 etc. Make sense? Is being campfire a bad thing? No, not at all. This is art, friends. There is no bad art. There's just art, okay? Picasso, I don't like Picasso. If I had one of his pieces here, it would be worth millions and millions of dollars because somebody likes it. Lots of people like it. So it's art. So there is no bad. There's just different. And no one is right in this. So, you know what I'm saying? Seriously, it is just art. And so your child who finger paints or draws a funny face, or gosh, I wish I had my little guy's paintings right now. They're so adorable, they're so cute, but they're messy. He's outside the lines, everything else. Dear God, if I told him that was wrong, it's not wrong. It's purity. It's so pure. This art is so pure from the heart without thinking about any rules for the most part, you know what I mean? So no, there's nothing wrong with that. Play campfire guitar. We need campfire guitar players. All right. Oh, also, friends, if you are putting a question mark, whoa, 629 folks in here, and this is because you guys are liking and sharing the video. So for those who have done their part and shared this video and liked it, don't like it twice, just like it once. But those that have shared this, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Other folks are going to be learning about guitar, hopefully get their mind off the damn news. By the way, here's my freebie of the day. I stopped doing this in 1990. I still know everything that you know about what's going on around the world. I do. I just don't hear it 50,000 times a day. And I just know the main stuff. Stop doing this because they're literally controlling your mind. And if this is crazy, if this is a crazy thought to you, you aren't paying attention. Sorry. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings, but you're not paying attention. Don't watch the news. Stop watching the news. Get off of social media unless you're watching people who are positive, because there's a great shifting of consciousness that's happening right now. I'm not joking. You can look at this video and a year from now and go, damn it, he was right. And it's not just me. There's tons of people that know this. There's a shift of consciousness happening. You're either going this way or you're going this way. Get on the frickin' train, okay? You got to surround yourself with positive people, surround yourself with positive thoughts, because there's a great shifting going on right now. It's for true. It's happening. All right, somebody said, Eric, you church. It's church time. It's church time. All right. Do you know the major scale on the? Oh, that's between you guys. Okay. Boy, it's getting hot in here. Whoo, whoo. Eric, is it all right to rest your fingers on the pick guard while picking single strings? It indeed is. It indeed is. Yes. 636 folks in the chat. This is beautiful. I obviously didn't piss everybody off. Good. Good. So let's stop watching the news and stop and get and follow some folks that are positive. There's some amazing people out there, friends, because it is seriously happening right now. Look at everybody in the chat here. This makes me feel like I'm not so crazy. Sometimes my wife looks at me like I'm crazy. But you guys know what's going on. You can feel it. It's palpable. It is so in the air right now. And it's beautiful. We're living in that time right now that a lot of people talk about. Nothing to fear. It's, in fact, a pretty amazing time. It's a beautiful time. We are literally in the most historic thing that's ever gone down in the history of ever. This is it. It's happening. You guys, I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys know exactly. Look at the chat here. Yeah. Frank Dougherty, you just reminded me. There's a guy I watched named Aaron Dougherty on YouTube, and he's one of these guys who's very enlightened, amazing dude. He's gone down the rabbit hole, and I've been following him. I don't get everything that he says, but why would you if someone's really highly enlightened, right? If Jesus were here or Buddha was here, we'd hang Jesus on the cross, and Gandhi or Buddha, we'd try to kill them too, right? So when you're that high level of thinking, people think you're a big fat weirdo until many years later, and they go, oh crap, he was right. Semmelweis, the guy that discovered that germs were on your hands, right? And people would go from the morgue to delivering babies, and all these babies were dying. It was like a 90% death rate. And this guy said, hey, wait a minute, I think there's germs on your hands. There's these little bugs, and when you go deliver the babies, then the babies die. And they said, you're a whack job. And they threw him in an insane asylum. But they did follow his methods. And then all of a sudden, the death rate went from like 90% to like 6% just because they washed their hands in between touching dead bodies and delivering babies. What? So if you have these enlightened thoughts, right, like these people do, people will think you're weird because it's outside of the basic, I'm a zombie, you must feed me news network, I am dumb, I need to be shown all the ways of my political party or my religion or my, freaking news network. Turn it all off, friends. You got to go inward, and you got to find, there are leaders, there are people that are leading us right now. You got to do some research. If you want, follow me. I post stuff every now and then on my Twitter. Let's get back to the lesson. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, okay? But there are some amazing people out there. Just hang on and start looking because there's a wealth of knowledge and good vibes out there, okay? Okay. Death is contagious. Yeah, it's all, everything contagious. Negativity is contagious, positivity is contagious, right? Life is contagious, death is contagious. It just depends what you surround yourself with. Crazy is a sliding scale. Thanks for everything, Eric. Must drop for a work call. P.S. Shout out to my high school classmate from 1988 who is also watching. Woo woo to your roommate from 88 who's also watching. Subskip, thank you so much for the donation, my friend. Mark Dice rules. I'll need to look Mark Dice up. You're right, Sensei. The storm is here. I'm telling everyone willing to listen. I'm just playing my guitar and enjoying the show. It's true. 643 folks of us in one accord here. Beautiful. Thank you. I'm having trouble with bar chords. Any suggestions? Yes. I'll tell you very quickly. First off, I've got a longer video which will help you with this. The effing F chord. Write this down. Effing. E-F-F-I-N-G. Watch that. Then watch my two-part series on bar chords. If you're not in the Unstoppable Guitar System. If you are, you know where to go in there. Otherwise, if you're just on YouTube, you don't want to get in the system, that's fine. Then 3 videos I want you to watch. Effing F chord, and then the two-part series on bar chords where I have a Fu Manchu. I was getting weird. My wife was out of town, and I said, I'm gonna have a Fu Manchu. That's what I'm doing. So there's that video. But here's what you want to do. Take an F chord, okay, and play just the first two strings, and then play the next two strings, and then play the next two strings, and then play the next two strings, and play the next two strings. If you have difficulty with any of those two strings, keep practicing it. Keep practicing the ones that you're having issues with. Then once you're done with those two string sets, do 3 string sets. That's 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. Then once you get done with all those 3 string sets, do 4 string sets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Then once you're there, don't move on to the bigger sets until you get all of these down. Then you can go to 5. Okay? Those two right there. Okay? If you were juggling and you were juggling 3 balls and you were having difficulty with it, would adding a 4th ball help? You know the answer to that. If you were having a hard time eating a full sandwich, if I gave you a cookie and stacked it on top of it, would it help you get the sandwich down? No, it wouldn't, right? So don't do this to yourself when you're learning anything. If it's too difficult and you're having a problem with it, you need to shut something off. The TV, something that's, get in a quiet place, focus more, take a little bit out of the equation. If you're doing strumming and you're having difficulty with it, take the chords out and just practice the strumming. If you're having trouble with the chords, take the strumming out and just do the chords. Slow it down, break it down, okay? 662 of us in here, friends. Will we break 700? We broke 600 today. That's freaking amazing. I bet you we will if you share this video. So share it with a friend if you would. And thumb up if you haven't already. Thank you so much, Brent, for the donation. Listen to Frank Zappa's I'm the Slime. Preach. Okay, I'll check it out. I know Frank Zappa was a crazy dude and said to be a bit prophetic in some stuff. I don't know. I'll have to listen to him more. If you could play with any musician, alive or dead, who would it be? Jeff, that's a great question. I would love to sit down with Stevie Ray Vaughan, but I would absolutely be so intimidated because I'd be like, dear Lord, because he was just so in the zone. He practiced so much. It was just such a part of him that I would feel ashamed that I hadn't even come close to practicing nearly as much as he had. I shouldn't feel that way, but my God, what a shining light of an icon of light in regards to music. Unbelievable, right? He had his demons, right? But as far as music, my God, he got it. He got that. Raz 7316, you are providing a great public service that I look forward to daily, and it isn't only about your guitar teaching. Oh, Raz, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it so much because sometimes I feel like a crazy person because I'm going to get emotional here in a minute because I love teaching guitar, but there's so much more that's going on as well that it spills out of me. It's like I want to let people know that there's so much hope and that the fear that's being fed to you is a lie. There is no need to fear. I'll say it. If a bear's chasing you, you cannot fear the bear and still do the right thing. You can get away from the bear and not fear it. Or you can fear the bear and you can cower in a corner and the bear can eat you. Or you can run up a tree, fear the bear, and always fear bears the rest of your life. There's many different ways you could do it, but you could literally see a bear coming at you, be like, there's a bear, I'm going to get out of its way. You get out of its way, zero fear. You can do this. It's a matter of developing a mindset, first understanding that it's possible and then developing that mindset. And this can carry on into everything that you do, okay? This isn't, obviously, the sages have talked about this for forever. This isn't anything new. 665 folks, that's unbelievable. So Raz, thank you for saying that because that's confirmation that that at least some of you are getting this. I know some of you don't like when I go off on a tangent, and I apologize for that. I'm just going with my heart. I'm being honest, but I'll try to keep it on the subject. Okay. 2 minutes. We're gonna do the pro lesson, the intermediate pro lesson. We're gonna talk about pentatonics, friends. It's going to get crazy up in here. Okay. Like it. Share it right now because we're gonna get ready to talk about pentatonics. It's gonna be fun. You guys are gonna learn some stuff. Okay. If you see me fighting in the forest with a grizzly bear, help the bear. I love that. I say that quote all the time because I love it. The devil said to the warrior, you can't withstand the storm." The warrior said to the devil, "I am the storm." Flip a table, as my friend Devin says. Where did Ed Sheeran get his spirit of playing? I don't know, but it's amazing. He's a light for sure. You're a guitar person, so by nature you are a crazy person. It is 100% true. What should I be practicing if I want to play neo soul R&B? So Darwin, learn the basics about guitar, just like I teach you inside the program, okay? So go through that first series and then get right into learning a bunch of songs. Learn take the top 5 of your most favorite neo soul R&B songs. Write them down right now. Go through your list in your head, write them down, learn those songs. Learn what key they're in, learn what scales they're using by learning how I'm showing you here, the pentatonic and all this stuff. Learn what they're doing, analyze the songs, chart them, like I show you how to write charts inside the program and read charts. Do that. Dissect this stuff. The further you can immerse yourself in it, the better you're going to be at this and the more you're going to get it, okay? Okay, we're at the 12 o'clock mark. Are you ready for the intermediate advanced lesson where we talk about pentatonics? Sure you are. Let's do it. We're going to have a blast doing this. Whew. Dear Lord, it is warm in here, okay? All right, so from the top, for those of you that have just joined us for the intermediate advanced lesson, welcome. It's the 7th day of the 30-day guitar challenge. You should have downloaded your PDF already. It's the very first link below. It's not just this, which is our syllabi for the whole month that shows you all the beginner and all the intermediate advanced lessons and which day we're going to be doing it, and a little check mark for you so that you can go right down the list. So not only do you have this, but there's 3 or 4 other pages, some links to some other places where you can develop your mind and your body and your spirit during this time, because you got 30 days here, man. This is a time of change. If you're not changing, you're missing out, because folks are changing, man. It is literally happening right now. If you don't see it, you need to wake the frick up, because it's happening, okay? Stick around with me for the rest of the month, and by the end of the month, I will get to you, I promise. This is a time of awakening, not just for your guitar, but for your body and your mind and everything. Let's get into this together. Let's grow together as a clan, right? As a crew, as a group, okay? Let's not be like the others that we're seeing in the media that are doing this, man. The media's, oh dear Lord, I could go on and on. I won't. But the pillars are coming down, man. The pillars are coming down. People aren't trusting the news as much. It's happening. I'm freaking jacked. I'm super excited. All right, let's get back to guitar. Let's talk about it. You should have downloaded this already. It's the very first link that's in the description below. The second link is going to give you access to the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, the top 30 lessons that I teach all my students, or come visit me here in Nashville at $200 an hour. It'll take us at least $1,000 to $2,000 to go through that series. Or you can click the link and get it all for free, replete with PDFs, daily guidance, email guidance from me. If you have a question, you email me right there and I'll answer you that day. It's pretty bonkers, okay, and it's free. Otherwise, if you want to get inside the whole Unstoppable Guitar System program, you can do that. Sign up monthly, sign up for a lifetime membership, sign up for $1 and you get in there for 30 days, unlimited access. There's lots of 30s, 30 days in April, 30-day lockdown, 30-day guitar challenge, 30-day trial, my top 30 lessons. You get it? 30. It's in the universe here, okay? So we talked, and so to go forth with this, to continue going here, it takes 21 to 30 days to develop a habit. So here we are for 30 days. I'm going live with you 2 hours every day from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. First hour is beginner, second hour is advanced, and so now we're into the advanced part of the lesson here, okay? And I'm going live with you even Saturdays and Sundays because we're going to get through this together. You have 0 excuses. You said if you had the time, you'd learn guitar. The universe heard you. So did I. You have 0 excuses. You got the course. You got me walking you through it every day. Let's do this, shall we? No more excuses. So let's talk about the pentatonic scale. The pentatonic scale is my favorite scale. I call it the most powerful scale in the world because it is. It can be used in any key. It can be used in any genre. It can be used all over the neck. There's only 5 notes out of the diatonic scale, the major scale, which is 7 notes. The chromatic scale, which is all available notes to us in basic diatonic harmony, there's only 12 notes available, okay? So, but we don't play chromatically, we play in groups of notes that work well together. That's diatonic harmony, so like the major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. It's the backbone, it's the structure, it's the behind the scenes, it's the matrix behind all of music since the beginning of time to the end of time, amen. It's literally the vibration and the correlation of how different things vibrate harmonically and that sort of thing. Chords, scales, all. And so the diatonic scale is the 7-note scale, the major scale. We've used it in classical, rock, blues, jazz, country, what have you, from the beginning of time to the end of time, amen. Amen. That's what constructs what we know and play and love today from all of your favorite bands. The pentatonic scale is a subset of the diatonic scale. It's 5 notes, 5 very stable notes that we use all the time. The blues scale is the pentatonic scale plus what's known as the flat 5 chord, or the flat 5 note, okay? We talked about that a bit yesterday, but today we're just going to be talking about pentatonic, and we will talk about the blues as well, the blues scale, because I was using it right at the beginning of this program, okay? Okay, so let's talk about this for just a moment. And I'm going to tilt this down just a pinch. Oh, crap, this thing just came out of its doohickey, so hang in there with me. Oh, hang in there. Okay, that's what we want. We want the top of my head cut off so that you can see the guitar. This is what when we're not in the big studio, this is what we get. I'm literally on my iPhone right now, okay? Okay, so here's the major scale. This is let's do G major, okay? So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 666 folks in here, boy. Well, I know some folks don't like that number, but I'm not scared of a number, but that's a new record. That's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, okay? That's the major scale. We taught this yesterday. Whole step, half, whole, half. If you don't know this, you gotta know this. This is the carpenter's measuring tape that he measures all the windows and doors and walls and builds your house, okay? If you don't have that, if your carpenter doesn't have that, you're gonna have a screwy looking house. If you're trying to be a musician, you don't know the construction of the major scale, which is super easy, then you're gonna have a hard time building music, okay? Just, it helps you, okay? You can do it by ear, you know? You can frame a window by feel as well. But you ain't framing my window, okay? So it's good to know these things, all right? So here's the major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. The pentatonic scale is taking the 1, the 2, the 3, the 5, the 6, and that's it. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And that is the pentatonic scale. Now we can use this major or minor, and I'll show you that in a minute. Now that form you may not be familiar with. Most people are familiar. God, I'm sorry, I'm really excited about how many folks are here today because it's much greater than any other time, so I'm not sure why that is. It's probably because you guys are sharing. So thank you. 681 folks just dropped in. So beautiful. This is the form that you guys are probably used to more, and it goes like this. This is the A minor pentatonic scale or the C major pentatonic scale. So starting at the 5th fret, we're playing 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Okay, let me do it again. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Okay? I have lots of pentatonic videos for you on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage Pentatonic because I'll tell you all about it, more so than I'll be able to tell you about today because I was in a different stream of consciousness when I was doing those. So, but this, if I'm starting on the A, is known as the A minor pentatonic scale. If I I started it from the pinky and ended on the pinky, that would be known as the C major pentatonic. Okay. Now, major and minor are related. There's a relative major and minor. So some of you know this already. I have videos on this. So if you want more about it, search Your Guitar Sage relative major minor. But essentially every major key has a related minor key and every minor key has a related major key. That means they share the same sets of notes and the same sets of chords. Okay? Why is that important? Because instead of learning everything twice, you only have to learn it one time. Learn it from the major key and just know that the minor equivalent is the 6. I can't get into all that right now. I've got to stick to the format here, okay? But I have videos that will guide you through this, especially in the Unstoppable Guitar System. But I have them on YouTube, some of them on YouTube as well, okay? So, that's form 1. There's a million solos that have been written from this. Right? Stairway to Heaven. Right? That's all pentatonic. A little bit of blues there, right? Yeah, right? A little bit of blues there. But mainly pentatonic. Now, most of that was form 1. You saw that. And so that's the only thing I want you to do is I want you to learn form 1 of the pentatonic scale, and I want you to get used to using form 1 using the jam tracks that I give you here on YouTube. By the way, you should be writing all of this stuff down, like Your Guitar Sage jam tracks, because I have jam tracks for you literally to get into today that will allow you to practice this stuff. If you know the key, which I give you, and you know the pentatonic scale, which I give you, then you can literally practice this stuff, minimalistic blues, etc. If you're in UGS, I have a whole course on that. You know about this, right? So you could start doing this today. It's not going to sound like Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan right out of the gate. It'll sound, by the way, 692 folks we just bumped up to. We're going to get over 700 today. That's freaking unbelievable because we've never been over 600 on these weekly live broadcasts. For those of you who hadn't already, please like it and share it. I promise you we're going to bump over 700. That's freaking amazing. You guys rock. Thank you so much. So cool. So we can use the major or minor pentatonic. If you just learn this one form, you can use it in all keys. It doesn't matter. So earlier, now watch this. Here's form 1. Now we said if we wanted the blues scale, then the only thing we need to do is add the flat 5. We find the flat 5 by playing the same key, A, and playing the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we flat the 5. So we throw this note into the pentatonic scale. So here it is without. Here it is with the flat 5. Right? Okay, so that's how we find the flat 5. This is why the major scale is important too, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 is the benchmark that we use to find the flat 5 and all the other notes like 13s, 11s, 9s, 7s, and etc. Okay, so now we got that form. Now, how's that form good for us, Eric? Because literally, you can take this form, shoehorn it into any key. It's not going to be Jimi Hendrix right away. You're not going to be speaking so eloquently, but you'll be in the ballpark of being able to do stuff. So now if I take this form and I bump it up, I'm playing the blues form, by the way. And I'm going to bump it up to B because that chord progression that I was playing at the top of the program was in the key of B. Now watch this. using form 1, okay? And I know it sounds complicated, but I promise you it's really not. I'm using the same notes over and over again. I'm staying in one place in the neck for the most part. I went to a couple little places here, but extending just different forms of the scale, but you don't have to. You can sit there all day long and noodle, okay? Now, that was in the key of B. Now, if I did another chord progression, let's say it was in the key of, let's say it was D. Let's do that, okay? We'll do something in the key of D. I'm using the same exact form, except now I'm in the key of D, and that is the new tonal center. Do you see how it sounds up and it sounds happy, right? Because that was my new tonal center. Not too unlike two different ways of thinking. You could be using, in a parallel world where you got people thinking crazy and you got people thinking right, you could actually be living in the same world here, pentatonically speaking. You could be either thinking in a minor key or in a major key. How about that, right? So this is not difficult. Here's what I want you to do is, first off, steps for you. You ready? Learn the pentatonic scale. Just learn it. It's real basic. I've got videos for you on this. If you didn't give that already, then just do it right now. 5 8 5 7 5 7 5 7 5 8 5 8. Okay. Rewind this. There's a new rewind function here on. I said function, which doesn't sound like function whatsoever, but you get the point. You use your pentatonic scale here, and then watch the video that I have called Minimalistic Blues, and that'll help you to understand this. As a child learns to speak, they only learn the basic things they need to learn, like my tummy hurts, and I got an owie, and I got a boo-boo, and I got a poopy, and I got a wee-wee, and I'm hungry, etc. And they get by for years like that, right? Until later on, we got to learn other stuff, you know? But at first, you got to think that same way as a player. You're not going to be really super eloquent at first, although you can be. You can say all the right things. I mean, my little boy, he doesn't have the biggest vocabulary in the world, but he says stuff that blows my mind sometimes because it's purity. It's from the heart. So, and I also hear idiots who have doctorates and all sort. Not that there's anything wrong with having a doctorate. Good for you. That's great. But what I'm saying is, a doctorate doesn't make someone intelligent. It just gives them book sense. So I've heard my child say stuff that is super intelligent, super enlightened, and I've heard people who had many degrees and should be preaching the truth, just they're complete idiots because they're speaking from book sense only, and they're not speaking from the heart, and they're not speaking with truth and everything else. Not too dissimilar to all the stuff we're talking about. Okay, whoa, getting off on a tangent. Let's stop Eric right there. Okay, I'm gonna get some water. Let's get to some questions. Does that make sense? Let's talk about the pentatonic scale if that helps you. If you haven't already, like this video, and also please share it with a friend. Because of you guys, we have this many people here today, so thank you for that. Just teach us a piece of that. So Kelly, you got to learn the pentatonic scale. Without learning the pentatonic scale or learning these basics about blues improvisation or the minimalistic blues, it's not going to make sense to you because you're just going to be memorizing what I'm doing, and that's not the point. The point is to say, here are these 4 notes. How can you, Kelly, learn to know what note sounds good over what chord? And the only way to do that is to get in there. It's like this. If I'm tasting chocolate, I'm saying, oh my God, it's so good. You should taste this. And I'm telling you over the internet, and I'm describing it to you in all these different ways, and you're like, oh God, that sounds so good. But yet you don't taste it. Well, that's like telling you about love or telling you about a song and not letting you hear the song. You got to get in there. You got to get your feet wet with this stuff. Otherwise, it's not going to make much sense to you, okay? Should I use alternate picking with the pentatonic scale? You can. Don't think about that or use it. Practice it with that, that's fine. But when you're talking about being musical, you're not thinking alternate picking or single note picking or tremolo picking, you're just playing, okay? But yes, you can do that indeed. Once we have scales memorized, how do we take it to the next level? Timothy, I always say don't memorize a bunch of scales. That's like a carpenter going out and buying a bunch of hammers and he doesn't know how to use the first hammer. Learn how to use that first hammer, then you never have to buy another hammer again. More hammers isn't going to help the carpenter who doesn't know how to use the hammer. So learn how to use the pentatonic scale. Know how to use the major scale for analyzing music and for playing and that sort of thing. Will absolutely help with many things, as I show you in the, I think it's called the 2 most important scales that you need to know. Practice your scales with a jam track. Yes, that's one of the keys is because we're trying to be conversational. These scales are nothing. They don't mean anything. They're just literally a hammer, and a hammer without being in the hand of a skilled craftsperson means nothing. It's just a hammer. It's just going to lie there. It could kill somebody. It could do nothing. It could be a paperweight. It could serve a lot of purposes. But in the hands of a skilled craftsman, can build homes that people could live in. And the same thing is true with your scales. They don't do anything by themselves. You have to make them come to life. So you need to grab a jam track. Search your YourGuitarSage jam track and you'll know what I'm talking about. And you can noodle this stuff over the top of it. Okay? Doug, thank you for the donation. Do you have anything on YouTube to explain other pentatonic forms? And thank you for making my day every day, learning lots. Yay, thank you, Doug. Beautiful. Do I have something on all the other forms? I don't know. I think I do, but I've done 1,400 videos here, and after a while you forget what you've done. So search YourGuitarSage pentatonic, but I might have gone through all the forms. I know for sure I do that in UGS. And if you want to take advantage of that, you can do that for $1 and get in there for 30 days and get out if you want and never pay anything again. So, or you can join up, whatever you want to do. When soloing, do we keep the changes in the theme of the solo, changing the solo with the changes? Yes, kind of, Rich. So like if you're on a B minor chord and then it goes to an A chord, if you play a B note or emphasize your lick around that B note on top of that B note, on top of that B chord, it's going to sound great. And then when you go to the A chord, if you kind of center it around that A note a bit or relax your lick, resolve your lick on the A, it's going to sound really good. Now, you don't have to do that all the time. If you do it all the time, it can sound a little bit predictable, a little bit like you're, like you know, if you've ever heard somebody like parrot somebody else, then you always know what they're going to say. It can become a little bit like that. All right, good chit, man. Someone's saying. Oh, thank you, Ahmed. Thank you. Bar chord problems, how to solve. It's always practice. But since I already talked about it in this program, I won't do it again so I don't bore anybody. But Sita, earlier, just a few minutes ago, we talked about this. Search effing F chord, E-F-F-I-N-G. Search effing F chord. I will teach you how to build your F major bar chord. That's the #1 thing you need to do. Before you do anything else, don't go past go. Don't do anything other than watch that video and follow that to a T. Friends, when I tell you to do stuff in a step-by-step order, it is literally the silver bullet for the problem that you have. If you skip over and you're like, yeah, I'm going to watch this video first, you literally have taken the legs out from me being able to help you. Watch the effing F chord if you're having a problem with bar chords, okay? Once you do that and you can form that chord, then you're going to want to watch my 2-part series on YouTube on bar chords. It's completely free. Otherwise, if you're in UGS, I have a whole bar chord series that goes into more detail about this, but that's how you want to do it. That'll walk you through it, okay? I can't do it again because we did it earlier. Do I have t-shirts that say Your Guitar Sage? Yeah, we do. I'll have Jason or one of the crew put that link up for you. We do have like swag. Yes, we do. Please explain jazz modes. I had a question about the Phrygian mode and how it relates to scales on UGS. I'll do this really quickly because it's really going to be over the heads of 99% of you, so I don't want to waste the time for folks that are watching, but this is an advanced lesson, so we'll talk about it really quickly. There's the major scale, okay, which is built off of whole step half, whole half, whole half. If we play the major scale from 1 to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we have the Ionian mode. If we play it from 2 to 2, or we have the Dorian mode. Okay, we have the A Dorian mode. If we play it from 3 to 3, we have the Phrygian mode. The B Phrygian mode. Then we have Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, also known as the natural minor scale, Locrian. But essentially you're taking the major scale. This is why I say the modes and all the other scales come from the major scale, because they come straight out of here. If you play it from 1 to 1, it's the major scale, or it's the Ionian mode, or the major scale. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, and then back to Ionian, or major again, okay? But it doesn't matter, because if I have a G major chord progression and I play all these different forms as they're moving up, I'm still just playing in the key of G major. If I wanted to play, let's say I wanted to play G, if I wanted to play G Dorian, here's A Dorian going from 2 to 2. If I wanted that to be G Dorian, which is now we're talking about the same tonal center, now we're talking apples and apples, then I would have to take that, I would have to take this A Dorian and slide it down to a G. Now I have G Dorian. Now it starts sounding funky. So here's G major, or G Ionian. Here's G Dorian. Now we're talking apples and apples, okay? And if that went over your head, it's okay. Let me ask you this. Do you love jazz music? If you're passionate about jazz music, learn your modes. If you don't learn them yet. Later on in life, they may help you. I learned them maybe my second year into playing guitar, and in 37 years of playing, I've used them 0.0001% of the time, and I know them. But I only know them because I teach them, because I like jazz. I don't love jazz, but even playing jazz and thinking about jazz and improvisation in jazz, I would think more about, okay, that one note needs to be embellished. I'm not thinking the whole scale is going to be different. I just think, okay, well, that one note needs to be embellished. Like the Dorian scale is basically the minor scale, but it has a raised 1, 2, 3, 4. It has a raised fifth. Okay, is that right? Yeah, it has a raised fifth instead of a raised sixth. It has a raised sixth note. So it's one note different than the Aeolian scale. So people think, oh, I got to learn this new scale, this new form, and know how to apply it and everything else. I just don't think that way. If the scale calls for a note that's embellished, then I just embellish the note. And that would be the easy way to do it. I don't know why, guitar can be challenging enough. I don't know why anybody would want to make it more challenging. I see people with ego online who are trying to make things more challenging, but fine, then go for it. Make things more challenging for you, and then you can brag about how hard things are. I don't know where the glory is in that. Where can I get jam tracks? Can't find the link. I have 600 of them inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System. Otherwise, on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage jam tracks. You're going to have to do a little bit of searching there, Joe. But on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage jam tracks, and you'll find something. I'm usually teaching a lesson, and then I show you and then I give you the jam tracks. Okay. Robert saying, I was ready to quit. Pentatonic scales frustrated, overwhelmed me. Your earlier video said one position depending on starting string location. Boom, that opened so much up for me. Thank you. Thank you, Robert, for letting me know that. I love that. Friends, if you haven't already, like this video and also share it, okay? We got over 600 folks in here today and really this close to 700. I think we got up to 692 folks in here. We may still go up there. So either way, I'm tickled because we went over 600 folks today, and we've never done that before, so thank you. Can I get fast soloing on acoustic guitar, or should I switch to electric? Yes, you could get fast at it, indeed. It's all practice, it's all gonna get you there. Why do we always use the minor pentatonic and not the complete minor scale? Why does the pentatonic work better than the actual complete scale for solos? JF Brunette, it doesn't necessarily work better, it's just different. And a lot of folks like this form because it's a very simple form to use, and the notes are choice notes. They're notes that just really work well. So they just take two notes out of the scale, and it absolutely works really easily. But you could use the full minor scale, that's totally okay. What I suggest you do, JF, is do both and see if you gravitate towards one or another. I ended up here by autoplay. What's happening? Cody, I'm walking folks through 30 days of learning guitar. It's a 30-day guitar challenge, going live with folks for 2 hours every single day. First hour is a beginner lesson, second hour is an advanced lesson. I have a PDF for you that's right below the very first link, and then a free course right below that. That's what we're doing here. And we're all collectively learning guitar here together. We're having a blast. Thanks for asking. What is a good way to get scales under your fingers for jamming and soloing? Learn one form of the pentatonic scale. Don't learn all the other forms, okay? It's helpful, it's fine if you do, but when it comes to soloing, I have a video called You're Playing Your Scales Wrong. And it's not so much that you're playing your scales wrong as it is you're playing, like when you just go and you're just running through your scales, it's helpful, but it's not really making you any music. It's not making you any more musical. And I talk about becoming musical with your scales in that video. So this is why I say to folks, it's as important what not to look at as it is important what to look at. Pareto's rule, I talk about it all the time. Know the right 20% of the stuff and you're gonna be able to take care of 80% of the job. If you do 4 times the work and learn the other 80%, you'll be able to get 20% better. Which one would you rather do? Know the right 20% of the stuff and take care of 80% of the job. You can always learn the other stuff later on when you master that 20%, but master that 20%. That's what the free course that I'm giving you today is about. That's Pareto's rule, okay? So you learn that one form, Frodo. You learn that one form, and then you go practice to the jam tracks that I've given you. Practice in the minimalistic blues and what have you, and you will get this because you'll get the phrasing. This is why, you know, if I'm playing like just before when I was doing this, I play this riff a lot, right? And it's right here, right? So I just played that, I don't know, 6, 7 different places on the neck. It's the same notes. When we're talking about this, look, this is very simple. Most of you know this in the back of your minds, but you don't know this in the front of your minds. When we're talking about the 5-note scale, we're talking about 5 notes. We're not talking about more than 5 notes. So we're talking about, oh my God, there's so many strings. There's 700 strings and 9,000 frets. No, there's not. There's 5 notes. We're using the same 5 notes all over the place. So what I'm saying is get used to using those 5 notes in one little area, and then all of a sudden, when the light goes on there, The light will go on everywhere. It'll be much easier for the light to go on everywhere, but you have to light this one little area up first. What people do is they learn scale after scale after scale after scale, thinking that as the carpenter who buys more hammers, that's going to make them a better carpenter. It's not. You just need to get used to using your one hammer, get used to using your one pentatonic scale, get really good at it. Then you can always grow from there, but just do that first. It's really, really important that you get that, okay? Oh, have you ever looked at the pentatonics as repeating 2 strings? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Jeff, beautiful, right? Like little hacks like that helps me so much. Okay. Exactly. Why do you? How do you solo with a scale? My solos sound like scales because because you're approaching it. That's what I said when I made that video. You're playing your scales wrong, as people approach the scales like they're scales. But think a scale is just a set of notes. If I handed you a dictionary, you're not going to flip open the dictionary and just start talking to me right in alphabetical order. That would be goofy. You need to learn phrases just like a child does. Ouch, you stepped on my foot. Hey, I'm kind of hungry. Hey, I got to use the potty. You learn phrases. You've got to learn the context of the notes. Most people have zero idea of the context of notes. What that means is, well, what note sounds like what over what chord? And people are asking me, well, how do you know this? Well, I'm giving you the basic bits here, but you've got to taste the food to know really what it's like. I can tell you all day long what chocolate tastes like. Until you put the chocolate in your mouth and you start swirling it around, you don't know what chocolate tastes like. Even though 10 million guitar instructors will tell you, well, this is what chocolate tastes like, or this is what the scale sounds like, or this is what scale to use. Unless you start noodling with it, you are not going to get it. So you've got to get wet. You got to get your feet wet, and don't be afraid of not knowing, because no one knows in the beginning. You go in there not knowing anything, and then miraculously, because you went in there with that faith, you learned something new, and then that grew and that grew and that grew, and now all of a sudden you are Stevie Ray Vaughan, because Stevie Ray Vaughan started right where you did. There is not a great guitar player on this earth who didn't start where you did or lower. They always start at step 1 on everything, okay? If you don't believe that, that's probably why you're not learning anything, because you have a defeatist attitude and you believe that things are going to come to you, you're going to win the lottery, etc., etc., etc. I'm not the guy for you, if that's what you think. Turn the video off, because I'm not the guy for you. You've got to find another teacher who's going to sell you, who's going to make you feel good in the moment, and you're still never going to get it. That's the guy you need, not me. Okay. Which guitarist is my role model and one aspiring thing about him? Stevie Ray Vaughan is one of my favorite, just because he stuck to what he did well. He didn't do a bunch of different things. Not that I don't have a problem with that. There are many great. I live in a town where it's cool to know many, many different genres. And I really respect that. But I also really respect a player who can just delve into what it is that they do good, really dig into it, and just dominate that style. And Stevie Ray Vaughan did that. And that's one inspiring thing about him, is that he stuck to what he knew. He didn't play jazz blues, nothing wrong with that, but he just stuck to hardcore, old school Texas blues, and it just was beautiful. It was amazing what he did. Okay. Is a Fender Stratocaster worth it? Do you want to play guitar and you need a guitar? There's nothing special about a Fender Strat. It's a great guitar, but any guitar will do. Don't overthink those sorts of things. You want to focus on something? Focus on practicing. Don't worry about your guitar. That's me just being honest, though. I could lie. We could go off about how that Fender Stratocaster is going to make you a better player, but it ain't. You're going to make you a better player. Thanks for doing these streams. Jim is saying, they make my day. Do you have any tips on muting techniques to avoid unintended strings from ringing out when playing pentatonic licks? Jim, that is a great question. Here's the deal. You have to learn the basic technique. As I said in a previous broadcast here this week, every single lick that you play is different than the one before. So there are a million minute ways that you can mute that specific lick. On YouTube, search Your Guitar Sage muting. Get the basics down, and then do what I do and every guitar player does, is when you're learning a solo and you play the lick and then you hear a string ringing out, you go, oh crap, not only do I have to play this lick, I have to mute that note. So how am I gonna do that? Well, I can free up this finger and I can fat finger that string. Okay, now I'm muting it. Let's do the lick again, boom. And then that muting of that string becomes part of the lick, and then eventually it just becomes part of your vocabulary. Just like I'm speaking right now, you know where the end of my sentence is because of the cadence of my words. You know where the period is. I don't have to really think about that so much. I'm just able to do that. And you will be able to do that too in your playing once you start developing it and doing it purposely. A child doesn't know how to do that at first. They may run sentences on and not have very much cadence in their speaking and that sort of thing, and just keep running on sentences. But as adults, we learn how to cadence and stop at the end of a sentence, so we know when it's your turn to speak. You know, that sort of thing. Make sense? Okay. Who do I model my pick holding after? I mean, that's overthinking it, Matthew. It's only, you just hold the pick. That's all you're doing. You're not really, there's no method there. You know what I mean? You just hold the pick. People overthink that stuff, and most people do in the beginning, and it's okay. That's the most questions that I ever have are about stuff like that. Just hold the pick. You're going to be good. Just hold it between your thumb and first finger. You're going to be good, I promise. How to avoid being trapped in chords and melodies. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Chords and melodies, you're not going to be trapped in them. You're just playing them. So those are your tools. I tell you what, go through the course that I'm giving you guys for free, the second link that's below. Go through that step by step. It's going to unravel a lot of that, because when I hear questions like that, it's because you don't understand the basics about music and about guitar. Once you understand the basics, so many of these myths and these mysteries will dissolve, because you'll automatically go, oh, I get it. Is a 1992 American Strat good? It can be. I mean, every guitar can be good. Every guitar can be bad. You have to play it and see. Eric, do not forget to say don't over cheap on a guitar. If it is too hard to set up and has too high of an action, it will discourage a beginner really fast. Happened to me in 1969. Mike, yes, but that has less to do with a cheap guitar, and it has more to do is the guitar set up correctly. So this is why I say the first 2 or 3 videos that are in the course, I say, how does the guitar play? How does it sound? That's all that matters, and it has less to do with cheap, and it has less to do with the model and that sort of thing. It has more to do with, is the guitar set up correctly? Is it a decent guitar? But yes, 100%, okay? You got it, Mike, correct. Eric, is there a common mind frame that many of the great guitar players have as to how they approach the guitar? Thoughts? Yes, indeed, Frank. You want to know what the secret things that they say are and their mindset? This is what they do, is they know, as I've been preaching to you guys since I've been doing this since 2006 online. I've been doing it, been teaching since I was in high school, but for a long time, decades now, this is what I've been saying, is that they understand that it's only practice. It's the only thing that separates them from their dreams of being whatever it is they want to be on the instrument, and not practice. That's the only thing, and that's where it starts, that's where it begins, and it's where it ends. Okay? Yes, instruction helps so someone can guide you or whatever, but at the end of the day, all the instruction in the world won't help you at all. That's why I say you don't need a guitar teacher. You truly don't need a guitar teacher. But a good guitar teacher, a good coach at anything, is going to guide you, hopefully save you time, and get you where it is that you want to go to quicker. But if you don't apply yourself, zero can happen. I've told you about my student, Igor. Igor, if you're watching, which you ain't, because you didn't practice when you came to see me for years. I love Igor, and I still talk to him every now and then. But Igor came to see me for years. He didn't improve from nearly day one. The guy never improved. Not because of my teaching, but because he would only practice right there when we were there together for the half hour, and he sucked. And he was such a brilliant dude. I think he might be a doctor now. He went to like Russian dude. His dad was a doctor, super smart dude, and so he was very smart. But at the end of the day, smarts don't mean diddly squat unless you're in doing something that requires smarts, you know, chemistry or something like that. And even that doesn't matter anything if you don't take the tests, if you don't do the work to get where it is that you want to get to. If you're really super smart at chemistry and you don't take your test, if you don't show up for your test so that you can become a doctor to do your tests and everything, well then you're not going to be anything but a smart guy sitting in your mom's basement. Big deal. No one really cares about that. It doesn't help the world, right? So you got to jump through the hoops. You got to do the stuff to show yourself approved. Same thing is true with every great guitar player, and they know this stuff. They know that, hey, it's just a matter of practice or learning this thing or whatever. I see my buddies do this all the time. RJ Ronquillo, I tell you about him, guy in town here. He's a remarkable player, and he just started really getting obsessed with Hendrix again. He went and got a lefty Strat or lefty Strat and flipped it to the right because he plays like a righty, and he started getting obsessed with his tone and his way of playing and all those things. And because of that, he's going to sound more and more and more like Hendrix the more he goes down that rabbit hole. And it's true for you. Anything that you want to do, it's just a matter of that mindset. I learned this early on when I started playing because I would learn a song and I'd say, or I'd want to learn a song and I'd say, well, that's impossible. There's no way I'm going to be able to play that. And then inevitably I would learn how to play it, and I was like, holy cow, I learned how to play that. And then it would be something harder and something harder and something harder. And I realized that there's literally nothing separating me from whatever it is that I want to do on the guitar, and probably anything else in life for that matter. That's my mindset. If you say that, if you say yes, there are some limitations in some areas, well then congratulations, you win the argument and you've limited yourself. So whoop did he frickin' do? Look at you, Mr. Winner, Miss Winner. You've limited yourself. I don't like to think that way. I don't like to talk like that. I try to get rid of that shit attitude, that shit mindset, because that's what it is. If you don't get that out of your life, you will die. And whatever it is you're doing, playing guitar, trying to get better, trying to quit smoking, trying to quit drinking, trying to quit whatever you're going to quit, if you got that mindset that you're a quitter, that you're a loser, that you can't do it, then you're 100% right. Sorry, it's true, and everyone needs to hear it, including myself. I'm preaching to the choir. But it's true. So that's what these guys, that's the only difference between the greats at anything and the mediocres or the novices, is because they just stopped at right there and they were happy and content, or they didn't believe that they were going to become any better than they are, okay? Lee is saying, am I right to say the whole setup of a guitar is to tune it perfectly? You can make the sound come with practice. I think I understand. Yes, 100%. Everything that you practice, you're not a robot. Anything that you practice, you're going to get better at. The brain is incapable of not growing. It's called neuroplasticity. And just a few years ago, scientists thought this was just for the younger folks, and that as you get older, this stops. Guess what? They were wrong. A scientist wrong? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're wrong all the time, many times. So, and then they have to not say, I'm sorry, and we were wrong about that. But yes, they're wrong about that. And it doesn't matter what age you are, your brain can grow, your brain will grow. It's impossible for it not to. So whatever you practice, you're going to get better at. It's physically impossible for you to not get better at it. Your brain won't allow it. Because what you're saying to yourself, this is evolution. This is the way that we work. We say, hey, I need to do blank. And if you think about that enough, it manifests itself. There's lots of people watching right now that you know you've gone down the rabbit hole. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You literally can manifest stuff with your mind, and then application of what it is that you know what to do. You can't just sit there and think about it that I know of. Maybe you can. I'll be open-minded. But I'm pretty sure that you have to apply yourself, because we live in a three-dimensional world where you have to do things. So if I say I want to be the best guitar player in the world, well then I can't just wish it. I'm going to have to practice as much as the best guitar players in the world. There's no such thing as the best, but you know what I'm saying. If I wanted to be known as a Tommy Emmanuel, Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Yngwie Malmsteen, B.B. King, whatever, I need to be playing at their level, means I need to practice at their level, means I need to have the mindset at that level, and then yes, you can do it. Okay? Preach, Reverend Andreas. Oh, thank you. Your analogies are the stuff of legend. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you guys are getting this stuff, and I'm not pissing too many people off. A few kids had to leave because they got scared, but that's okay. Eric, is it better to learn playing guitar, learning notes and scales, or learning to play songs? It's a very broad question, but learning songs is the best way to do it because you're going to learn things as they are in context. Just like my child who learns how to speak, he's never opened an encyclopedia nor a dictionary, but that little rugrat is knows how to speak. What? How did he do that? Through osmosis. You know, you're listening, you're playing, you're following, you're playing melodies like I did when I had a one-string guitar. I just play the melodies. I'm listening to them. I'm playing them. You can do this. Anybody can do this. So then, but the ear is really good to develop and learn songs. But don't leave music theory. I mean, that's just the knowledge of music, and it's very simple to learn, at least the basics. That's what all the stuff that I teach you inside the free course today. Second link below. Do that. Get it, okay? Can't is a 4-letter word. It is. Almost a 5-letter with that hyphenation, but yes, it is. Do you not like Clapton? I never hear you mention him. No, I love Clapton. Clapton in the zone, right? Yeah, 100%. Love Clapton. I just have my guys that I go to all the time, that I say all the time. What is an easy blues song to play for beginners? Well, good news, Abel. They're almost all pretty much the same. It's the 12-bar blues progression. I have many videos for this on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage 12-bar blues on YouTube, and I'll show you the construction of that. If you know the construction of that, you know, like all the ZZ Top tunes, all the Stevie Ray Vaughan tunes, Folsom Prison Blues, and all the songs that are based around the blues, 12-bar blues chord progression, okay? I love the fret dots in your minimalistic blues PDF. Yeah, okay, that's from Inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, okay? What means chord vamping? Chord vamping is when we play something repetitively. Oftentimes it can be one chord. Usually when people say like a one chord vamp, that's what they're talking about. It's just vamp it on that one chord. So bam, gamp, 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 whatever rhythm you want to do there, that's a vamp. And you can do it with several chords too, but usually we were referring to that, so a real short passage of music. Okay. The best player in sports and music performance is usually the hardest worker. Indeed. Friends, get this or die never having got this and never seeing your full potential. Okay? What happens if the you that you could be met the you who you are without believing in yourself? What happens if there are two paths and you could be mediocre your whole life, and then there's this other you in this parallel universe that goes off and learns and knows and believes all this stuff and follows it, and then you guys meet up one day? What would that guy tell the other guy? What would that girl tell the other girl? Donation just came in from Canada. Love your positive energy and all that you do to help people stay well in a day. Thank you so much, Frankie. Super kind, friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kids can take care of themselves for an hour. When I lift my finger off the strings, they make a sound. How do I stop that? Tone, 74. By being cognizant, by being aware and focusing on what it is that you're doing when it makes that sound. Now, if you're talking about this sound right here, that's the natural sound of the guitar. Don't worry about that so much. But if you're hearing a sound that's superfluous, that you don't want to be there, then just be cognizant of that. You're the guy playing the guitar, so it has to be you that stops it. I say this all the time. I know it sounds ridiculous to some people, but they say, tell me what to do with my finger. It's making this noise. Look, you're driving the ship. You have the steering wheel. You steer your life where you want it to go. You're the guy that tells you don't lift that finger or lift that finger. But you have to stop, slow down, and see what it is that you're doing, and then tell yourself, don't do that anymore, or do this. These are little micro habits that if you can get the micro habits, the universe is watching you. It's listening to you. And if you are honorable in the micro habits, it will give you bigger habits to tackle that you'll get, and then bigger habits, and then you become iconic, right? You become a Tony Robbins, or you become a Buddha or a Jesus, or you become somebody who people pattern themselves after because they got certain things in a certain way, okay? Sir, what's the difference between fingerstyle and finger picking? They're the same thing. Who is ZZ Top? Is he a musician? Come on, Larry. You know the answer to that one, buddy. Okay. All right, we're going to go a few more minutes here, friends. We're going at least 5 more minutes, okay? A little bit past 1 o'clock. My wife has a write that she's going to be doing right from here today, a Zoom write. She's a songwriter, so she's going to be writing with some folks. But I want to get to some more questions yet. First, but before we do that, friends, if you have not already, if you have, then don't do it. But if you haven't already, please thumb this video up. If we can get this thing over 600, that would be beautiful. We could get it over 600 likes. I would love that so much, because we already got more than 600 folks in here. That was awesome. We almost got to 700. We will probably tomorrow, but we got over 600 folks in here today. It was just eking out on the 700 mark. It was like 690 people, which is remarkable. And the thumbs up, I know we can get over 600 before we end this broadcast. It's already popping up. So if you haven't already, please do that. I would so appreciate that. Also, share this video with a friend, because they could use a little break from the constant programming that they're getting from the news and everything else. Friends, turn it off, man. Turn it off. Please turn the news off. You know what you need to know. Go inward. Start investing in yourself. Spend time with your family. Get off the social media unless you're watching people that are really positive. It's going to rot your brain. Did you know that there are 6 companies that own all the media in the world? Yep. And they're all together in on it. And they all say the same thing, pretty much. And they try to polarize the left and the right. And if you're not aware of this, friends, you are being played. Sorry, that's a little PSA there in the middle of my guitar lesson. If you're a lefter or you're a righter, I understand. I've been there, been in both places, but they're playing us. Don't do it. Turn that news media off. Go inward. You have a lot of sense within you. You don't need someone to tell you what to do, okay? You don't need a church to tell you what to do. You don't need a religion to tell you what to do. You don't need a news network to tell you what to do. And you can still be spiritual, worship God, not worship God, whatever. You can do all of this by, I say it all the time, caveman mentality. What did we do when we just lived in a cave? Were we able to worship God? Were we able to be kind to each other? Do we have political parties? Do we have all this stuff? No. They're specifically set up to control. Don't be part of it. Sure, I'm losing a lot of folks right now, but I got to speak the truth. Murray, thank you so much for the super kind donation. Really appreciate that. It's not 6 companies, it's only 4. Huh, I'm, okay, yeah. Okay, 4 companies. That's even crazier. It's coming down, though. It's freaking coming down. Let me ask you this. How many folks do you know that were left-wing are now thinking more in the middle? How many folks that you knew were right-wing are thinking more in the middle? They're going, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I can make up my mind myself. I don't need you to make up my mind for me. I'm seeing it all over the place. I know I'm losing people. It's okay. I got to speak this stuff. It's the truth, because you're going to hear it once from me, and you're going to hear it from somebody else, and then all of a sudden, it's going to click with you. It's going to click with you this month, because it is coming down. Folks are becoming enlightened, and it is going to happen for you. I'm just one more voice that you're going to hear it from. You're going to say, holy shit, my guitar teacher said that. He's a guitar teacher. And then Tony Robbins said this, and this guy, the pieces are coming together, because they're coming together, okay? Okay, let's get into another question here. I'm sorry I go off on this sometimes, folks, but it is such a real part of me, man. It's become part of me over the years, and I gotta let it out. It's always been, but I gotta let folks know, because otherwise you're just gonna think that I'm just a guitar teacher and the only thing I'm teaching is chords and scales. And even though I think that is a beautiful thing, music is a beautiful art, and you allow the soul to speak through ways that words don't work. And I think it's so important, and the discipline is so important, and the discipline will lead you to understanding that you are a completely unlimited effing being that can do anything that you truly want to do. It will allow you to understand this. It did me. This thing saved me from killing myself. Literally, several times in my life. Saved me from killing myself. I'm so far from that now, I can't even imagine that. But it's saved me many, many times. And I get real serious about it. It's a big deal to me. So Jordan Peterson is another one to follow. There's a lot of amazing people to follow right now. If you don't know Jordan Peterson, follow him. It doesn't mean you're going to agree with everything that he says. There's a lot of folks that I follow where I don't agree with everything they say, but they're speaking the truth, and they're breaking the box open on this thing, man. Be awake. Follow some folks. Sam Harris has some wise things to say. He's an atheist, but he has some wise things to say. Look them up. Look these people up. Ben Shapiro, I know he's going to freak you left-wingers out. Listen up, man. The right-wingers hate him just as much. These people are busting the roof off of truth. Follow these folks, man. Follow them, okay? That's where you're going to find the truth. It's not in the news. They want to kill you, okay? I don't know why. I should take that statement back. I don't know why, but there's a lot of there's an agenda there. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, up here. Are we back live? Hopefully. Are we live? Are we back live? Yeah, we're back live. Okay, sorry. Had to reconnect there. Real quick, friends, before we go, by the way, thank you so much for the donations today. If you have not already, please like the video. If you have already, don't do it again. Please share this with a friend. Thank you so much for the donations, you guys. $138 today, and that's so, so kind of you. I really, truly appreciate that. We're 10 away from being over 600, so can 10 people like this thing really quickly? That would be a new record. It's just a weird little ego thing of mine that would make it really cool. Would love that. Please like this on the way out. Mike, if you could post that link, that would be great. If you haven't already, please go ahead and post it again. Jason or Emmy, please post a link to the documentary that Clint just did. Oh, we just hit 600 likes, so thank you, friends. Post that link if you would. Mike B, do you have it? Or Emmy or Jason, please do that. Because I won't have the time to do it right now. I see folks are agreeing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Friends, I'm going live with you every single day in the month of April from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you so much, Bill, for the kind donation. Thanks for speaking the truth. You're so welcome, friend. Going live from you every single day from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. First hour is going to be a beginner lesson. Second hour is going to be an advanced lesson. Download the PDF right now. It's the very first link below. The very first link below. Thank you, Emmy, for posting that link. Look in the chat right now. Emmy just posted the link to Clint's video. Watch that right now if you have a chance. That'll give you just a little snapshot of how we got started here at YourGuitarSage, like how this whole thing got started. It's a fun little story. Nothing big, but it'll give you a little backstory about it, okay? Thank you so much, Mike, for posting that as well. Download the PDF, first link below. Don't forget to get inside the Unstoppable Guitar System for free today. It's the second link below. The top 30 lessons that I have for you that will absolutely build a solid foundation for you so that when we meet live like this, you're not going to be lost. You're going to have all the foundational pieces to kick ass and to understand this stuff. And I'm walking you through every single day of that program through the month of April. Okay? And then we have the advanced lesson as well. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your positive energy. I do this as much for me as I do it for you. You guys have a great vibe, and there's just a bunch of winners in here, so thank you so much. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. See you. Stay up.